Yanks and Red Sox tomorrow. Mets in Cincinnati tonight to take on the Reds. This is a place where the Mets have played well. They have hit home runs. And then they go to Philly where they have played well and they have hit home runs. They just have not hit home runs this year. The Red Sox in town tomorrow for the first 3 games. I will not be here tomorrow. CMB will be filling in for me. This was an event we set up about in January. I set it up with the Telecare people who have the Long Island, the Catholic Network. I'm doing a charity event tomorrow for them all day that I had scheduled to do many, many months ago. I scheduled back in January as I have to keep my my word and make my appearance there. So I will not be here tomorrow. I'll be back on Wednesday. Apologize for that, but there's nothing I could do because I did commit to doing this back in a long time ago, back in January. John in Connecticut. What's up, John?
Hey, Mike. Welcome back.
Thank you. What's happening?
Not much. I was watching that show with you and the dogs when you guys did your picks. I don't know why you keep bragging. You never took the Reds.
I did take the Reds.
No, you didn't. You took the Indians, the Angels, and the Astros for the under.
I thought I took the Reds. No.
No. Oh. I mean, it's easy for anyone to jump on the bandwagon, but no.
Oh, I thought I did take the Reds because I had written the Reds down. I don't know why I didn't take them then. You know, and
you could have. That's why.
I already and I did actually. They are the ones that I actually wagered on was the Reds. I mean, so I apologize. I thought I took I thought I took the Reds. I apologize. I took the Angels.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm comfortable with them too. So I mean, I'm comfortable with all my picks. I'm comfortable with the Astros. I'm comfortable with the Indians. I'm very comfortable with all of them, as a matter of fact. But the Reds were the one I liked the best. I don't know why I didn't take it that day. I'm surprised. Go ahead.
Yeah. So with the Mets pitching situation, like you said, neither of these guys are basically automatic out.
Yeah, they are.
But you said there's no depth in the farm. Have you followed the farm to start the season? They have not a lot of players that people want. I can tell you that right now. Not a lot. And do I follow the farm? I've had a couple of extensive talks with Omar Minaya, who you may know works for the Mets. I don't know if you're aware of that. So we have talked about their farm system extensively. So, yeah, I am aware of who's in their farm system and about talking with them about their farm system. I have spent some time with Omar in the last couple of months. Yeah, that is. So I am aware, yes. Dave in Flatbush. What's up, Dave?
How you doing, Mike?
What's happening?
Welcome back.
Thank you.
So I think the problems with the Mets are having stems from the fact that they're obviously the ownership is again showing that they were too cheap to get.
I don't think it's about cheapness. I don't think that's it. I just don't think they made good moves. I mean, I don't. I hear that. Yeah, I don't think they didn't bring in good players.
I understand that, but it seems to me that they're bringing in players that would be good role players and good complementary players rather than going to the big bangs. For example. They did not, again, for a change, they did not address the catching. And I understand they can't control 2 injuries, but these were 2 catchers that were injury prone and bad.
Well, who do you want to bring in a catcher?
Lucroy.
No, I can tell you this right now. And I know that the Mets, remember they wanted Lucroy last year and he wouldn't come here. The Mets were told by their scouts in the offseason that Lucroy looked like a different player last year, that he had lost a lot, and that he wasn't the guy to get this year.
But he's a lot better than anybody.
Well, I'm just telling you, they were not interested in him. Now, they have been interested in Real Muto. It's not a secret. But again, they don't have a lot of attractive players right now in their system. They really don't have a lot of flashy players in that system right now.
I understand, but what about the idea? And I understand, but the idea with Frazier. I
think that made sense. I like the Frazier signing. I liked it, and I guarantee you 10 days into the season, you were raving about it, too, when he was leading them to these salt and pepper wins and everything. I'm sure you liked him early in the season, too. I think Frazier's a guy. The Mets desperately needed someone to stand in front of their locker and lead this team. You got to have someone there every day. They haven't had a guy who would do that, and I think Frazier gave them that guy. They need an everyday player who can lead, and he's one of those guys who will do that.
I felt that Moustakis was that guy. Could have been that guy. And he could have been a guy who gave you a better, consistent numbers all around.
I think Frazier's fine. I don't think he's the problem. I think the problem is they're getting nothing from certain players. Nothing from Bruce. Nothing from Conforto. They're getting nothing from, obviously they've lost catches, but they're getting nothing from the catching spot. Rosario's hitting 230. When they put guys in, other than Cabrera, who they're getting something from, they're not getting a lot from their key guys. This team can't survive if it does, first of all, they need Cespedes to carry it. Secondly, they have to have Bruce and Conforto hitting, and Bruce and Conforto have 3 homers between them.
And lastly, where's the leadoff batter?
They don't have a leadoff batter.
I know, and they've not addressed that in a few years.
Well, you see, but first things first, I want to address the catching situation before I address the leadoff.
Oh, that was my first thing,
So, yes, they don't have a great leadoff hitter. I'll be the first to admit it. They don't. Now, I think they can get around that, but, that can work itself out. If you have somebody hitting, you can put him in the leadoff spot as long as he's a guy who will take a walk. You can live with that. But I don't think they can live with not addressing the catching situation. And my understanding, they just don't have the ability to get Realmuto, that the price tag is way too much for them. Bobby and Mayapack, what's up, Bobby?
Hey, Mike, you're like Notre Dame of sports radio or the Yankees. People either hate you or like you, but they keep on talking about you.
Well, that's okay.
Welcome back, Mike.
Thank you. What's happening?
Hey, Mike, the Derby now. Mike, the course is 20 horses. Years ago, we didn't have that. You had 10 less, and the inside post didn't mean anything. Today, with the inside post...
Wait, what did you say about 10 and 20? What was your point?
But years ago, they didn't have 20 horses.
Yes, they have. They've had 20 horses for a very long time. They've had 20 horses for a very long time.
What, 12 years, Mike?
More than that. There's always been a lot of horses in the Derby. That's not true that there weren't a lot of horses in the Derby. There's always
but doesn't that hurt the race, Mike? Because
it only hurts the race if you have traffic problems. If you're a closer, if you're a speed horse, it doesn't affect you that much. It does affect you. Now, that race, when you get a race like you had Saturday, first of all, I'm not knocking this horse. Baffert talked this horse up all week. The only thing you were going to knock the horse, when Baffert says the horse is better than American Pharoah, you got to take notice. Okay? The horse was coming in off a very, very tough resume, though. He had not run as a 2-year-old. He had only had 3 races. He had only run 1 race against legitimate competition. He had run over a muddy track. He clearly had speed. And give them credit, their game plan executed brilliantly. They got the horse to the front. Now, remember, they ran really fast early. But what they did was they really just bottomed the field out. I mean, they basically went so fast early, they left anything in the back so far back, there's nothing they could do. And then closing on that kind of track, the only horse that was really, to me, running at the end other than the winner was the Jack horse, number 10, who finished 5th. He was running, but he came from so far out of it. I mean, he was at the top of the stretch. He was last. He came from way out of it, and he had no chance. He was just a mile back. And the other horses, he seemed like he was toying with them. He did not have any. He wasn't even covered. He had run the race he wanted to run. He kept clear. He stayed out of trouble. He did go fast, right? Mons, what were the? I know they went 45. What they go 6 in? What they go 6 in? I didn't look at this at the 6 furlongs. Did they go? Were they under 111 or not? Was that when he slowed it down, or did he slow it down after that? Let me hear the times. Yeah, give me a chart, because I know they went 45, which is fast. They went 22 and 45, which when you're going 1.25 miles is really fast. The suicidal speed numbers really is. I think they slowed it down, though, in that third quarter is when they kind of slowed it down. I mean, they went a slow time. It was a very, very off track, and it compromises that race. 111 and go from there. 111. They went the mile and 1, so they didn't go. He really backed it down from there. So they went the mile and 137. Wow, and then they went 204, right?
Yep.
Yeah, which they really and in the stretch. How many lengths out of it was the 10 horse at the 8th pole?
Top of the stretch, 9.5 out.
9.5 out.
Yes, but at the mile,
it was only 9.5 off the top.
No, I'm sorry. 16.
He was 16 from the front runner.
Yes,
and he was last, right? Was he still last?
Second to last.
Second
yes.
to last, okay. And he finished 5th. How many lengths out?
About 5.5.
So what was it? So he was 5. So he
More like 6.
Okay. So and it was 137. Give me the rest of the fractions.
Started from the top.
No, 137.
And then 204.
And 204 and 4. 204 even or 204 and change?
204 2.
204 2. Yeah. It's low. I mean, listen, they went 20. Was it 22 and 3, 45 and 3?
22 and 2, 45 and 3.
And then they backed it down from there. I mean, they went quick. He got position. They went really fast. They slowed it down to where, they didn't do that third quarter in 109, which would have been suicidal. They went at 111, and then they really backed it down to 137. So that's where they really backed it down. And then, there were not a lot of legit. A couple of horses had no chance. Like Mendelssohn got destroyed. He got absolutely destroyed. I saw him get destroyed. I didn't see anybody else get really destroyed. But remember, that kind of track eliminates a lot of horses right off the start. You really don't know what to make of that race. If you were going to put those same horses in the gate tomorrow on a fast track, you'd have to eliminate the race completely. You have to throw the race out. But the winner likes it wet. He's got the speed to get up front and get good position. And he did look easy doing it. I have to give him credit for that. He did look like he looks like he will win the Preakness the way he ran. That's what he looks like to me. And then we'll see about the Belmont. That's what it looks like. I thought that the 5 ran okay. He looked okay. Audible. I thought he ran okay. I thought my boy Jack was the only one with a lot of energy in the stretch. I know the one that finished 4th made the pick 4. I made the superfecta because he was like 85 to 1, right? It was
85, yeah.
85. He made the superfecta. Otherwise, it was very chalky, the first 3. What can you do? It's just it's a bummer when the race comes up that way. And I'm not saying the horse wouldn't have won anyway because he might be that good. Baffert says he is. He looks the part. I mean, he does everything right, so you can't knock him. But I like to see the race run over a fast track and see what happens, but we didn't get that.
Jack was also 8 wide. I mean, geez.
Yeah, but he did close, but he just was too far out of it. I mean, he didn't get a trip, but there's nothing you can do. He just doesn't have any speed early, and they went really fast early, and I saw him last, and he was still last a long way back, a long way. But, that's the way he runs. That's the way it goes. And that was the horse I keyed on, was that horse on the wet track. It was my key horse. And, I wasn't going to play the favorite. And if he beats me, so be it. So I tip my hat. Now I want him to win. I always root for the horse that wins the Derby to win the Preakness so that we have a Triple Crown shot. And that's what we will do now. We'll root for Justify and hope we get a horse that comes here with a chance to win a Triple Crown. 5 o'clock. Let's get to the update.